Hello and welcome to YouTube channel HealthQ, the place where our mission is not only to motivate you but help you to move on to the brighter side of the health. Friends, as you all know, our mission is to make sure that you are able to move better, you are able to live a functional life and a good quality of life. And to that, your posture has a very important role to play. The way you sit, the way you stand, the way you walk determines how your physical well being will be. Many of us invest a lot of time and effort in developing good functional fitness. Similarly, if we invest a bit of an effort in correcting our postural pattern, you can see amazing results in terms of not only a good physical health and well being, but also prevention from a lot of injuries. And to discuss all of that, I have today with me a very special guest, Dr. Gayatri Suresh, who is a biomechanist and who is a research coordinate with IIT Madras. She comes with tremendous experience on understanding the physics of your body, how the mechanics of your body works, how the muscular system works in coordination with each other that gives a posture that involves a lot of functionality. And she has deep understanding as well on what can happen wrong when these postures are not in alignment. So, welcome, Dr. Gayatri. Welcome to the
Thank
show.
you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So, I'll just give a quick layout or else and brief about what we are going to talk about. So, we will first understand what is biomechanics as such, how biomechanics play a huge role in our physical well being. We will also discuss about how biomechanics should be a very integral part of any individual's functional well being plan. Fourth thing that we will discuss would be how your day to day postures, especially while work, can impact your physical well being. And lastly, I would love to hear from you what are the simple steps that an individual can take in order to make sure that they have a good posture. We will also discuss here what is the difference between an ideal posture and a regular posture because there's a lot of myths around that. Right? So let's start with our first question. What is biomechanics?
Well, the biomechanics is a human movement. So human movement occurs because of a lot of things. It's not just bones. It's just about the way the muscles are attaching to the bone, the way the nerves are supplying the muscles to move the bone. So there are all these factors which affect the way we move, which is different for each individual because each individual is not made up of the same make. So to study the movement, which is specific to each individual, is what biomechanics is. Like you said, it goes into a lot of physics, it goes into a lot of biochemistry. So all this put together, we would be doing an analysis of the human movement.
Awesome. तो गायत्री मुझे ये बताइए कि फ्रॉम अ बायोमैकेनिकल पर्सपेक्टिव अगर हम देखते हैं एक ह्यूमन बॉडी को, ठीक है, तो इसमें कितना ज़्यादा रोल होता है एक वेलबींग, फिजिकल फंक्शनल वेलबींग का मैकेनिक्स में? अगर मतलब मैकेनिक्स अगर फॉल्टी हो गई किसी की, तो उससे उसकी वजह से क्या बहुत डीप इम्पैक्ट पड़ सकता है किसी इंडिविजुअल में? और अगर हाँ, तो कौन कौन से प्रॉब्लम्स आ सकते हैं अल्टर्ड मैकेनिक्स की वजह से?
हाँ, तो ये मैकेनिक्स डेफिनेटली हमारे जीवन में काफी महत्वपूर्ण है। तो आप जो भी कर रहे हैं, आप चाहे हाउसवाइफ हो या फिर आप डेस्क जॉब में हो या फिर आप एक बहुत हेवी उठाने के काम में हो, आप जैसे मूव करते हैं वो आपका ओवरऑल फिटनेस का उस पर असर पड़ता है। तो ये मायने नहीं रखता कि आप कैसे काम में, लोग यूजुअली बोलते हैं डेस्क जॉब है तो बहुत हानिकारक है या फिर आप बहुत हेवी भी उठा रहे तो बहुत हानिकारक है, ऐसे नहीं है। पर आप वो डेस्क जॉब में कैसे अपने आप को संभालते हैं, क्योंकि डेस्क जॉब में कैसे होता है कि आपको पूरे दिन बैठे रहना पड़ता है। बट उसमें भी अगर आप थोड़ा-सा मूवमेंट करें, अगर आपको ये पता है कि कब ब्रेक लेना है, कैसे काम करना है, या फिर अगर आप कोई बहुत हेवी उठाने के काम में हो, तो उसमें भी कैसे उठाना है, कैसे वो हेवी लोड को उठा के ट्रांसफर करना है। तो ये सब कैसे आप डेफिनिटली आपका फिटनेस भी रहेगा, आपका स्वास्थ्य भी अच्छा रहेगा, तो आपके काम की वजह से आपके स्वास्थ्य को कुछ नहीं होगा। सो अगर किसी को काम की वजह से कोई इश्यू आ रही है, तो अगर बायोमैकेनिक्स के पर्सपेक्टिव से देखा जाए, तो आप कैसे मूव कर रहे हैं या फिर कैसे मूव नहीं कर रहे हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर डेस्क जॉब में बहुत लोग भूल जाते हैं कि हाँ उठ के ब्रेक लेना है, चलना है, तो बहुत साल के बाद उनके बैठने की स्थिति कैसे हो जाती है। ये सब स्टडी करने के लिए बायोमैकेनिक असरदार होता है। तो डेफिनेटली जो जॉब रिलेटेड इश्यूज होते हैं उसको थोड़ा सा लाइक रेगुलर ऑर्थोपेडिक या रेगुलर असेसमेंट से बायोमैकेनिक्स भी ऐड नहीं आपको प्रॉब्लम कुछ है या फिर नहीं है और उसको प्रिवेंट कैसे करना है वो हमें पता चलता है।
राइट। अगर हम बात करते हैं एक स्पेसिफिक कैटेगरी ऑफ इंडिविजुअल, जैसे डेस्क जॉब का सबसे मेजर पॉपुलेशन जो है हमारे देश में आज, वो डेस्क जॉब ज्यादा कर रहा है। और इन्हीं डेस्क जॉब वालों का हाइब्रिड मॉडल की वजह से कभी वर्क फ्रॉम होम होता है, कभी ट्रैवल होता है, कभी लोग ऑफिस में काम करते हैं। मैंने बहुत लोगों से ये सुना है कि जब हम ऑफिस में काम करते हैं हमारा पोस्चर अच्छे से मेंटेन होता है क्योंकि वो एक अच्छा कंट्रोल्ड एनवायरनमेंट होता है, लेकिन द मोमेंट वी आर एट होम हम किसी भी पोस्चर में चले जाते हैं और फिर हमको पेन आना शुरू हो जाता है। राइट। तो यहाँ पे जो आपका एक हमेशा एक स्टेटमेंट मैंने देखा है कि कोई भी पोस्चर आइडियल पोस्चर नहीं होता है। राइट। तो आप थोड़ा सा इसके बारे में डीप में समझाएंगे कि तो अगर आइडियल पोस्चर कोई नहीं है तो क्यों अल्टर पोस्चर की वजह से इंजुरीज हो सकती है?
सो हमारा बॉडी कैसा है कि इतने सारे जो हड्डियां, देयर आर सो मेनी
बोन्स, राइट,
joints in the body, they are meant to make us move, okay, different like because हमारा बॉडी ऐसे बना है हम बहुत सारे postures में रह सकते हैं, बहुत सारा मूवमेंट कर सकते हैं। प्रॉब्लम तब आती है जब हम कोई posture को बहुत टाइम से मेंटेन कर रहे हैं या फिर एक posture में अचानक से जा चुका है which has never been before। अगर मैं एग्जांपल दूं, मैं आपको बोलूं कि सीधा बैठना है तो इनिशियली आपको अच्छा लगेगा कि हाँ आई एम सिटिंग अपराइट, आई एम फीलिंग अलर्ट एंड ऑल दैट, बट लेट्स 2 घंटा कंटिन्यूअसली सीधा बैठा, आपको उसमें भी लाइक थोड़ा सा टायर्ड लगने लगेगा कि ठीक है थोड़ा सा चेंज करते हैं। ये ऐसे लाइक बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं कि हाँ सीधा बैठना ही हमारे पीठ के लिए अच्छा है, बट अगर सीधा बैठना हमारे पीठ के लिए अच्छा है तो फिर 2-3 घंटे के बाद हम क्यों नहीं बैठ पाते हैं? क्योंकि बॉडी वो पोस्चर में भी थोड़ा थकान हो रहा है कि सारे जॉइंट्स को एक एक लॉक करके रख दिया। तो जब हम थोड़ा सा फिर रिलैक्स करते हैं बॉडी को रिलीफ मिलती है। बट अगर हम वापस अभी बहुत देर के लिए अगर ऐसे बैठे हैं कि नीचे झुक के बैठे हैं फिर वापस 2-3 घंटे में अनकंफर्टेबल लगने लगता है तो हम वापस सीधे बैठते हैं। तो ये बॉडी के कंटिन्यूस सिग्नल्स है आपको चेंज करने के लिए। तो एक एक पोस्चर में आपके एक एक मसल्स पे, आपके जॉइंट्स पे, उन सब पे असर पड़ता है। तो सीधा बैठने पे डिस्क पे प्रेशर नहीं है बट मसल्स पे प्रेशर है। जब आप झुक के बैठते हैं तो मसल्स रिलैक्स हो जाते हैं बट डिस्क पे प्रेशर आता है। तो इसलिए मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ कि एक सही पोस्चर, ideal posture does not exist. Each posture has an effect on you, which will be bad anyway if you make for a long time.
Got it.
So the only thing is you don't have to keep on sitting straight. You don't have to keep on sitting in a slouch position. You can just spread out on your bed and relax. You can sometimes sit up straight and relax like that.
Right, makes sense. So also I have seen people spending a lot in the fitness, in their own personal fitness, and I think fitness industry is growing also, if you see. So everybody is motivated to go to gym, everybody is motivated to work out, but at the same time when it comes to looking at the work environment, okay, in general, from a physical standpoint, there the motivation level is not high. I believe somewhere the reason is the awareness part also. People don't know the importance of your posture or else your workplace well-being maintenance. That is number one. Or do you think, are there any other reason why people are not much aware or not investing more in their postural care when it comes to their workplace?
I think for the amount of work that is being given to desk job people, it takes a lot of their attention. So when you're completely focused on one place, you're sort of trying to forget, like if we have a lot of deadline, oh, you have to finish this work by today, or this project is so important. People tend to forget that. And at that point, it seems like the work is more important than their own well-being. Because there are consequences to the project not finishing within the deadline. And on top of that, like 8-9 working hours, you're continuously sitting, you're continuously racking your brain over something. That will definitely get people a little tired post-work or pre-work to, get themselves to exercise because it's already been an exhausting day. So for such people, even if they're not able to exercise, I think incorporating slight movements within the desk itself can be useful. So be doing something over nothing. Right. So I would say it's mostly an issue of their brain fatigue rather than their body fatigue, because even in an exam, a student would be thinking so much that by the time they're out of the exam, they're like, okay, I don't want to do anything. Because I think even the brain working continuously plays an important role. It's not just the body. It might be how much emotional stress someone's going through. So these things also have to be taken into consideration if someone from a desk job especially coming for a posture analysis or coming with no motivation to go and do some fitness.
Right.
In that case, we have to see how to tailor it to their needs.
Got it. So that takes me to the next question. How we can fix this problem? So definitely there is an awareness issue. There is definitely an attention issue. The focus issue, like the focus is not on the posture, but the focus is on the work, right? So what is an ideal way, according to you, that this problem can be solved? And the reason why this requires to be solved is to prevent pain to a lot of extent, because there's a 20 million population, especially in this top 20 cities in India, who is suffering from chronic pain of the adult population, right? And then if we consider even 50% of that population is a working population, then that's a huge problem to solve, right? And I guess prevention is something that does not require very big steps, but even a small step taken in a very incremental manner can help. So what, according to you, should be those steps?
Yeah. So when it comes to pain as an experience, it's not only because of the way someone is sitting at a workplace. So I would say if someone from a desk job or from a long sitting job is coming for an assessment, we have to look at three factors. One is definitely how they're working at their desk job, the kind of posture they're maintaining, and if they're well supported or if they're not well supported. That is definitely one thing to be looked at. Second is how much stress they're having. So there are three components that add on to pain. One is a biological factor, which comes from the body. One is your emotional factor, जो आपके मानसिक स्थिति है. तो उससे भी आपका पेन एक्सपीरियंस थोड़ा सा बढ़ता है. So वो उसका भी देखना है. And then psychosocial factors. So अगर काम में भी stress है, and then बाहर घर पे भी stress है, या फिर you are not overall peaceful in life, then that is thing. So when it comes to the posture, I think सबका attention span अलग-अलग रहता है. तो अगर 9 घंटे का काम है, I don't think कि किसी को भी 9 घंटे पूरा focus करके बैठ सकते हैं. So अगर आपका attention span, if you can just record or observe how much attention you can give for your work in one time, let's say it's 40 minutes. So you keep a timer on your phone. 40 minutes I'll work, and then I'll take a 5-minute break, and then I'll go to the next set of 40 minutes. So it'll be useful if they can maintain one posture for 40 minutes. Then in the 5-minute break, have water. Like hydration also plays a very important role. People also forget to drink. So they sort of tend to get dehydrated. They like work for 40 minutes, for example, if that is their attention span. So some it can be 1 hour, some can 20 minutes. So take a 5-minute break, walk around, just have some water, and assume another posture for 40 minutes. If you have a sitting standing setup at your work, then nothing like it. You can work 40 minutes sitting, you can work 40 minutes standing. So that itself takes care of a lot of things. Other than that, learn how to manage the stress at your work. So if you are finding a lot of projects together, see how you can schedule them to avoid the stress of deadlines coming on to you. Ensure that there's a nice peaceful environment outside the work. All these factors to contribute, they can help reduce the pain of someone who's in a desk.
Right. Makes sense. So now, since there is this topic of chairs and standing tables and all, how impactful or how effective these tables and chairs are, and if not, what are some of the good chairs and table examples that you would like to give to audience?
Yeah, so there are certain guidelines, but they are not to be taken at face value, because for different people their body structure is made differently. So the overall guidelines is that I'll go from the table setup first and then the chair. So the laptop is not, or your computer, you're not supposed to be looking up at it. You're supposed to be looking 15 to 20 degrees down at it, so that you don't have a completely extended neck or a completely bent neck. Okay, वो एक चीज का ख्याल रखना है. सेकंड, आपका जो एल्बो है, एल्बो से रिस्ट हो सके तो सपोर्टेड होना चाहिए, ताकि जब आप माउस के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, फिर कंटिन्यूस टाइपिंग कर रहे हैं, आपका बॉडी पार्ट अनसपोर्टेड नहीं है, ताकि लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ अदर मसल वर्क विल बी हैपनिंग इफ यू आर अनसपोर्टेड. थर्ड, आपका जो कंप्यूटर है वो आपके बॉडी से बहुत दूर नहीं होना चाहिए. सो हैव इट इन सच, आपका जो एल्बो है 90 डिग्री बेंट होकर काम, ताकि आपका शोल्डर पूरा स्ट्रेट नहीं हो, क्योंकि फिर वापस शोल्डर मसल्स कंटिन्यूअसली काम करेंगे व्हेन यू आर टाइपिंग. So this is definitely the most ideal for everybody. When it comes to a chair, हाँ definitely वो आप backs आपने बहुत सारे photos देखे होंगे, like there are a lot of photos going around, lot of information going around how you should have a back support, how your neck should be supported and how your feet should be supported. You can definitely buy a chair like that, but don't invest only into that, because as I said before, कि सीधा बैठना भी it's not the best posture.
Correct.
You will need to adjust and all. And if you have a chair which is not letting you bend at all, then you are not getting that rest. So you definitely buy a chair. If you want a back support, have a back support. Ensure that your feet are completely supported on the ground. So usually feet agar if they're left hanging, then it's not a very comfortable position.
Right.
So your feet are supported on the ground. Your knee should be, your thigh should be completely supported by the chair. And then the one variable thing you can do is to have a modifiable back support. Something that allows you to be straight, supported on your back, and something that allows you to bend also at every 40 minutes. This is all about sitting. If you have a standing work desk, that will have the computer a little low. You're not supposed to be looking straight, but in that case, your arms will be lifted up for typing in a standing desk. So have a desk at around your rib level so that your arms are at 90 degrees, and you can work in a standing setup for 40-45 minutes. And in the next set of 1 hour, you can then go back to sitting. So it's not having time to move around or take a break. Then sitting, standing itself does the comfort.
Alright, makes sense. So that takes me to the next question of mine, and that is, what are the conditions? Maybe if you can name some common work-related conditions. Let's say we pick it from joint-wise. Let's say if we start from cervical, what are the 2-3 common challenges that a person can develop due to work posture at cervical? Then we can move on to the shoulder, then elbow, then wrist, and then we can cover the lower back, pelvis. So people watching the video right now can get educated on what are the possible challenges that they can develop.
So one, from if you are continuously having a very long working hours, so very long time where you're not moving at all, one thing that can happen is a mechanical low back pain or a mechanical neck pain, where the pain is mainly coming from structure. Like I said, if you're sitting completely erect, your muscles are overactive, so they are working a lot to help keep you erect. But if you're slouching and sitting, the muscles are relaxed, but then all the force is coming on your discs or the structures in between the bones of the spine. So if you're maintaining these postures for a long time, whatever is getting extra stress, that will be a source of the pain. This is commonly known mechanical low back pain or a mechanical neck pain. Other than that, if someone is in their later stages, like if they're slightly older, then degenerative changes have already started happening. So in these cases, with a desk job and with an older age, we would want to look at the degenerative changes which can cause pain. So things like cervical spondylosis, or in more severe cases, if someone is having a disc or a stenosis. The stenosis usually doesn't occur with the sitting. The commonly thing that we see is cervical spondylosis, which is a sort of degeneration of the disc of the neck. Then coming to shoulder, you don't get any condition. So it's a myth that you get a frozen shoulder from sitting. So frozen shoulder आपको सिर्फ बैठने की वजह से नहीं होता. So the shoulder में क्या होता है कि आप continuously जब आप ऐसे बैठते हैं, तो फिर आपको सीधा बैठने में थोड़ा discomfort हो जाता है. तो आपका बॉडी इतना यूज टू हो जाता है कि आप ऐसे बैठ रहे हैं कि एक अच्छा सा स्ट्रेच पोस्चर फिर अनकंफर्टेबल लगने लगता है. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज अ पोस्चरल डिस्कम्फर्ट. तो वो मेनली हो जाता है. व्हेन इट कम्स टू एल्बो एंड रिस्ट, अगर प्रॉपर्ली सपोर्टेड है तो ज्यादा कुछ होने का चांस नहीं है. बट अगर यू आर अनसपोर्टेड, then you might get some tingling sensation at the elbow, which is commonly known as the Saturday night's pulse. जब अगर आपका एल्बो कंटिन्यूसली डेस्क पे ऐसे वर्टिकल है एंड ये बोन कंटिन्यूसली एक पोजीशन में है, तो उधर के सेंसिटाइज हो जाते हैं. you might again, I'm not saying कि this is what everybody faces, but it can lead to something known as a Saturday night. यहाँ पे एल्बो पे थोड़ा सा नमनेस हो जाता है, आपको ऐसा लगता है कि सेंसेशन उतना नहीं फील हो रहा है एल्बो पे, which is possibly extending to the hand. Wrist में the most common thing for workers is a carpal tunnel syndrome. So carpal tunnel syndrome कैसे होता है? आपका wrist है, it's like a compartment. ये जो है, consider it as a compartment. And उसके बीच में से nerves जा रहे हैं. अगर आप continuously, आपका mouse अगर बहुत high है, आपका wrist continuously ऐसे है, तो फिर ये compartment इधर से थोड़ा सा press हो जाता है. Because they are nerves, आपको हाथ के अराउंड थोड़ा सा numbness होना शुरू हो सकता है, या फिर tingling. आपको like fingers weak है, या फिर वो करना पड़ रहा है to remove that feeling. तो कॉमनली लोग ऐसे खटकते हैं रिस्ट को कि ठीक है numbness पर चला जाए. या फिर आपका माउथ अगर बहुत नीचे है, आपको नीचे से भी कंप्रेशन हो सकता है. तो आपका माउथ आइडियली ऐसा होना चाहिए कि आपका रिस्ट न्यूट्रल पोजीशन हो. So these are the most common conditions, and पैर में conditions as such नहीं होते हैं, but overall feeling of tightness आता है क्योंकि आप continuously एक posture maintain कर रहे हैं. तो अगर आप स्ट्रेच करने की कोशिश करें तो आपको लग सकता है कि टाइट है, बट द गुड न्यूज इज दैट इज नॉट मसल टाइट. ये टाइटनेस आपको नर्व्स से शुरू होता है कि आप एक पोजीशन पे बैठे तो नर्व्स को लगता है कि हाँ ये पोजीशन इज व्हाट द पर्सन इज अज्यूमिंग. सो यूजुअली द नर्व्स ऐसे फीलिंग देने लगती है कि बॉडी टाइट, बट देन इफ यू मूव अराउंड ये भी अवॉइड हो सकता है. तो मेनली डेस्क जॉब में अपर बॉडी एंड स्पाइन में कंडीशंस दिखते हैं.
करेक्ट, मेक सेंस. सो मुझे बताइए गायत्री कि ये जो हमारे रिस्ट सपोर्ट है, क्रेडल्स है, मॉडिफाइड माउस जो ergonomic करेक्शन के लिए अवेलेबल होते हैं मार्केट प्लेस में. इवन देर आर सम सपोर्ट्स विच इज अवेलेबल फॉर द चेयर टू रिड्यूस द गैप एंड गिव elbow support. How effective and impactful they are, and is it something that it is like a one size fit all approach, or it requires a lot of customization?
Okay, it's not a one-size-fit approach. They are effective definitely because they help relieve the pressure of a lot of joints in our body. But like I said, just because you're getting that does not mean you maintain that position only. Because even if you're having a lot of support at your elbow is still bent. So once in a while you need to get up and stretch out. Once in a while you need to take a smiley ball and just do this so that pressure is off. But yeah, the ergonomic devices available in the market, they can definitely help relieve what symptoms you have, and they can prevent awkward posture. So something that you're not used to maintaining. So it's not one size fit all. Everybody is of different height. Everybody is of a different weight. Everybody is computers at their workstation, or the laptops will be of different calibration. So according to that, you have to ensure that you get adjustable ones, so that you can adjust in such a way that your feet reach the ground, so that you can adjust in a way that you can move forward and backward in the chair, and that the chair also fits in the desk. Sometimes the desk will collide with the armrests of the chair, which will put distance between you and the computer. Right. So you have to ensure that the armrests are also adjustable so that you can move closer. And if it's amazing if the computers also have a up and down adjustment, so that you can adjust and do this. And there are certain interesting designs of the mouse which are coming out. So I had a colleague, and he had some wrist pain, and he ended up taking a mouse which was a ergonomic design. I'm not able to picture it now, but I can definitely send across a photo for the people in this podcast.
Sure.
So you can buy something if you feel that it is going to be useful for you. But again, always remember that the only effective strategy is to just move every few minutes. Right. It's to not maintain in one sitting position.
Oh, makes sense. So I think this is pretty simple and fairly clear now that patient, or I won't say patient, an individual, if wants to invest or work towards their pain prevention, then definitely it requires some intervention from a time standpoint, effort standpoint, and sometimes certain tool standpoint. These tools need not to be like similar for every individual. It can vary from individual to individual depending on their work environment. Now I would like to move on to the most important segment of this video, and that is a person who is working at an office, traveling from home till the office, which may be maybe 10 kilometers or so, and is working in a desk. What are the best practices that they should do, maybe top 5 you can say, that can help them not to prevent but at least to maintain a good postural well-being?
Ma'am, could you repeat that question?
Yeah.
The thing is, if someone is at home and working and traveling,
if someone has to travel from a home to a office, which is somewhere between 10 to 20 kilometers, right? You're living in a bigger city. Someone who has to work 9 to 6 at a desk job, right? What will be top 5 best practices according to you to prevent their pain to the maximum?
Yeah. So first thing, identify your attention span. See how long you can work at one time. Definitely for nobody it's going to be more than 1 hour. Identify that. Identify what kind of movements you'd want to do. Okay, so that you don't have to waste time thinking about that. So identify a list of 5 exercises. So just for the wrist, to move the wrist, to move the elbow, just to stretch your back. So keep that pre-identified. Take a break every 40 minutes or whatever your attention span is, and for 5 minutes. Go on a walk, move that, and then come back to sit. Second, keep yourself completely hydrated. So even if you're working in a desk job, even if you're not doing something very strenuous, you have to be having enough water, at least 2 to 3 liters, so that you don't end up getting dehydrated, like they say, because of all these. Third thing, definitely find some time even for half an hour of exercise. So there was a recent study which was done. They compared people who are in a desk job and exercise and who are not in a desk job and exercise. While exercise was beneficial for both of them, people who are in a desk job, the effect of exercise was slightly lesser because of their long sitting hours. So if you're sitting for like 9 hours and working half an hour, it's going to be some benefit, but it's not going to be able to give a lot of benefit because of uh, the ratio of your sitting to exercising. So if you can, definitely find even half an hour a day is fine. You don't have to go to the gym. Like thing is, manage your stress. So all these things are not just about the way you sit, the way you stand. It's also about how you manage your work. Ensure that you're able to manage the different projects in your desk job, and that it's not leading to a lot of stressful situations for you, because that can definitely contribute. And fifth, people tend to become workaholics. Just take the weekend off, go somewhere, do something that you want, like completely, because even if your brain is constantly thinking about work, you're not getting yourself out of that space.
Right.
Okay, so 2 days a week or 1 day a week, depend on your working days, you have to completely detach from your work and then come back. So people might think physiotherapy is all about exercises and all about this only, but it's a combination of you exercising, your nutrition, and your overall mental state.
Okay.
So keep these 5 things in mind, and definitely the person can definitely be more productive also and prevent pain to some extent also.
Awesome. And now let's move on to the second scenario, and that is for someone who is working from home. What are the top 5 best practices that you would like to advise them?
If you are working from home, the sofa or the bed definitely seems to be a very comfortable option. But I think the more force we put on something, the more force it puts back on us. So that's one difference where there is the pain between someone who's working in a desk means an office setup versus home setup. If I'm to explain this better, when you walk on a hard ground, you don't feel a lot of effort for walking. But when you're walking on sand, you feel like you really have to put effort to walk on the sand, because sand is a much softer surface. Just like that, a sofa or a bed is a much softer surface than a firm cushion or a firm chair. So while you can use the sofa or cushion for your breaks, ensure that you invest in a small amount to have a working setup at home. It can even be a plastic table and a chair and just a laptop stand, so that you can angle the laptop. So that is one thing you have to take care of. And second, at home, people get into snacking. They get into a lot of eating here and there. So the nutrition goes out of picture, which can definitely affect them in a way. So one is to ensure that you have a working setup in your home, not that you're continuously working on your sofa and bed. Then second is to keep a pattern, like keep a check on your food, because in the office you cannot just get up and eat anytime you want, because the boss is around and all your colleagues are around. But at home there's no restriction on that, so check that. Then whatever exercise guidelines apply to a desk job also apply. So if you're working for continuously 1 hour, 2 hours, in fact at home you have more freedom to get up and walk around and just do something. So have a break every few minutes, so that you don't end up maintaining one posture for too long. And again, have some time to exercise, even if it's a home-based exercise, some yoga or some Pilates, or if you are going out on a walk or a gym, definitely do that.
Okay.
And fifth thing from home is have workstations and different things for other purposes. So this is again something that you're training your brain for. So you use your dining table to eat. You use your bed to sleep. If you're working on your bed, you'll feel more sleepy and more unproductive than on a dining table. Why? Because you've already conditioned your brain for all these years that a bed is meant to sleep in.
Correct.
A sofa is meant to relax in. So if you suddenly start working on these two areas, it's a psychological thing where you'll feel tired, feel a little unproductive.
Correct.
So if possible, have a small separate, even if it's your bedroom, have a desk in your bedroom so that you're not working from the bed. I think this is one overlooked aspect. So people tend to be very unproductive and very sleepy.
Correct.
So that is again years of conditioning your brain. So ensure that you have a small setup which is only for work so that you'll be more productive.
Yeah, this is very important, I guess. And I would say it's one of the key message that every person working from home should take, that since your brain is conditioned for as home being a relaxing place, the work also becomes relaxing, and that's why people face productivity issues and they feel that you're working throughout the day. But if you are able to kind of create a space for you in the home which is dedicated to work, then your productivity level will definitely increase. That takes me to the last segment of this entire podcast, and that is about men versus women. Is there any difference or any factors that is different from men versus women in terms of the challenges that they face related to work? And if yes, what are these and what can be done at their level to prevent it?
Yeah. So the major thing that differentiates men and women is the hormonal cycles. So men typically function on a 24-hour cycle where their hormone just resets every day. So every 24 hours it resets. But women function on a 15-day hormonal cycle. So women have this thing where the first 15 days of their cycle they're all very energetic, very productive, very happy, very bubbly and cheerful. But then the next 15 days it suddenly goes down. Just the week before menstruation and the week of menstruation. So you have to identify that you have to schedule your work accordingly so that, because you know your pattern the best, but this is what typically happens to most of the women, where they have an energy spike and an energy drop as compared to men who have an energy spike in the drop in one day itself. Okay, so schedule your work in such a way that you're doing the most brain demanding stuff or the physically demanding stuff in the times where you're doing well in your hormonal cycle, and closer to your menstrual phase you can just do the more lighter work so that you don't have to struggle with, okay, this work is not getting done, that work is not getting done. Then other than that, there does not seem to be a huge difference between women, because in a desk job it comes to the mental capacity, and it's only in a physical labor that there would be significant differences, but when it comes to the mental capacity there's no difference. It's just about how they manage that. And all these factors that I've said about productivity, about changing postures and all that, it applies equally to both men and women. So even if someone feels, oh, I can be more productive if I sit for a long time, no, you still have to take breaks, you still have to walk around, move your joints so that your joints are not used to one single position for a long time. So every point that I mentioned here, it equally applies to men and women, with the exception of the women's menstrual cycle coming into picture. So that is up to them to decide how they manage and how they, if it helps them to take 1 or 2 days off to be more relaxed and productive, that is also advisable.
So one follow-up question to this: is there any tips or any advice that women should specifically take on when it comes to menstrual cycles? Working women on the days of menstrual cycles, are there anything that they can do to reduce their cramp, or is there an impact on posture plus this menstrual cycle, or there's nothing major impactful here?
For the majority of women, having a spine in a more flexed position, a more curled up position, like they say, it helps better with cramps rather than maintaining a very
Okay.
Because already someone is in slight amount of pain, slight amount of discomfort. Again, if they are forced to maintain a very erect posture, then the back muscles, they might also be sensitive for some people during the menstrual phase. So continuously having them active might increase the pain experience. So in this case, actually it's okay to just slouch, okay to just relieve the overactivity of the back so that it doesn't add on to more pain. It will be helpful if you can have a hot pack if that's what helps you. So even if you're working, a hot pack can greatly reduce the discomfort. Now, with the menstrual cycle, slight amount of pain, slight amount of discomfort is normal. But if someone is having debilitating pain, इतना दर्द हो कि बैठा नहीं जा रहा है, चला नहीं जा रहा है, then it's definitely time to see a doctor. Because this much amount of pain is not normal. It may indicate that there are some issues with the hormones and all that. So as long as someone is having pain, tolerable pain, which is not hampering their life in a huge aspect, they can do these things to reduce their pain. But again, for all the people listening here, if you feel that you have a menstrual cycle which is intolerable, then it's time to visit a gynecologist to see how you can reduce that amount of pain.
Right. Makes sense. Thank you so much, Dr. Gayatri. It was so informative and so helpful. Yes. I wish that all the audience viewers who are watching this video got some insights and value from this podcast. Hopefully, we will meet again with more detailed topics, very specific to different postural challenges, so that people can get benefit from that. Because the entire mission is to help and make sure that 1 billion people globally can move better.
If I can add one last thing.
Sure.
I think desk job people are really put down. Like people say anything is better than a desk job or anything is better than sitting at one place. Right. But I want to say thank you to all of them, because even though with all this negativity that they face, the fact that we are able to meet on Google Meet, the fact that we have so many apps on our phone, it's all because of people working in desk jobs. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people tell you guys that, oh, I'm in a much better job than you. Kya baithe kaam kar raha hai? But just thank you to all those people who are in desk jobs. And if you have any issues, we are physiotherapists always there for you.
Sure. So on that note, I'll also like to tell you that Dr. Gayatri is available on our platform for online consultation. At the same time, for postural analysis test, this is a software-based test where we help you to identify your postural flaws and we can help you to work on it. The link to our website and the app is mentioned in the description box below. So make sure to check it out. On that note, see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.